Hey Genderqueer Chat, it's Matt, and happy Valentine's Day to all you lovebirds out there, or all you single people looking for love, or just everybody, because you all deserve love and to be made to feel special and all that stuff. And even if you don't believe in Valentine's Day, because I know that it's a bit of a contentious corporate sellout kind of heteronormative values promoting kind of bullshit day, but if you're in love or you want to be in love, and we all need love, so happy Valentine's Day from me. Love you all. Okay, this week's topic. Has being genderqueer caused you to miss out on anything in your life, or what opportunities have you gained from being genderqueer? I guess in regards to what things in my life I've missed out on, the most striking example would be in regards to having strong social bonds or strong friendships with people of the same birth sex and conversely the same gender. I wouldn't say that I was ever lonely growing up. I certainly had plenty of friends, both family friends and school friends, and then friends that I made through work or further education or just in general progress of life. So I've never had a shortage of friends, and that's fantastic. But I certainly felt like I missed out on that sort of close bonding experience that you do get, or that some people get from growing up with people of their same physical sex or same gender. So certainly when I was at school, in the early days, there was a lot more mingling between boys and girls, but as you sort of moved into primary school and into high school and college and then further into your adult life, it seemed to be that there was much more of a binary kind of existence when it came to genders and how people were socialised and how people acted and came together in social groupings. So definitely my first experiences were boys hung around with boys, girls hung around with girls, boys did their boy things, girls did their girls things, and yeah, if you don't really fit into one or the other of those groups, keep in mind there's not a lot of space in the middle, flexibility-wise in society like that, then you can be a bit of an outcast, and that's certainly what I experienced. So definitely wasn't lonely. I did have lots of friends, but I never had that kind of brotherly bonding experience with other male assigned at birth people. I didn't really understand them, I didn't get them. While I didn't necessarily question gender or think about it in gendered terms, I just knew that I didn't really fit in that group from a very young age. And so my relationships with other guys has been sort of superficial, real kind of surface relationships. Even into adult life, there's only been one or two male friends that I've had that I've really had a strong friendship connection with, like a strong bond. And for the best part, those guys have been pretty more sensitive and more in touch with their feelings, or sort of more open in that way. Not to stereotype, but I really didn't get that whole male thing, and I still don't get it, and I still don't really interact well or feel comfortable with your typical stereotypical guy. At the same time, I didn't have access to that group that we call female. I probably looked at that group when I was young, and I guess I yearned to a certain point to be a part of that group. I felt that that group was something that I kind of, longed to be a part of, or felt like I'd be more comfortable with. But once again, I didn't really think about it in gendered terms when I was young. Definitely as I became older and as an adult, I started to work out that what I was feeling was that I really had this strong need to be socially more entwined in female world. That got convoluted and complicated with the idea of relationships and stuff like that. And but as I've managed to untangle that a little bit, I've worked out that I certainly always had this like need to sort of fit into girl world, girl spaces, have close girl friends, and on a really substantial kind of level. And I didn't have that, not until recently. Ironically, not until a few years before I started to actually identify as genderqueer. But I was certainly going through a process of being more comfortable with who I was and thinking about my gender in a different way. And I found that all of a sudden I had a lot of strong female friends, and I still do. And 99% of my friends are female, and that's probably not likely to change. But yeah, I guess, well, I feel like I missed out on that strong kind of camaraderie or brotherhood or bonding that you would have as a male assigned at birth person with other male assigned at birth people. I wasn't born a girl either, so I didn't have that, sisterly bonding thing with girls either. So I kind of missed out on both of those groups. So I think the one limitation or the one thing that I missed out on that's directly related to my gender is that. As for what that sort of knock-on effects of that is, there's probably a lot of things that has happened to me through the years that could be attributed to not really having that that strong sort of social connection. So yeah, it was a limitation or something that I feel like my genderqueerness prevented me from really being. On the same token as well, like the flip side of that is that it's also an advantage. If you don't really belong in one of those groups and you're not being fully socialised in one of those groups, then you do, I guess, have the ability, consciously or unconsciously, to take what you want from both of those groups and kind of become your own person, exist in that middle space. And on reflection, I look back at my life and as a kid and as an adult and see that that's pretty much what I've done. When I actually did start to identify as genderqueer, of course, then that came with another sort of set of challenges. I found that I want more of a connection with the queer community and the way that I identify, like my sexuality and stuff. Obviously, I wanted to be a part of that kind of group. But once again, not really having the right bits to fit into that, or not the right kind of socialisation, or not the right privilege to be a part of certain groups. So once again, kind of on the outside of that. So that's a further limitation. As for opportunities though, like if I hadn't had been genderqueer and if I hadn't have later started to identify as genderqueer, I wouldn't have a connection at all with the queer community. Like I've said in previous videos, and like Jack was saying in their video, before I did identify as genderqueer and really untapped that whole, gender thing, I was pretty closed off to things about different kinds of sexualities and different kind of genders, and it's definitely opened my mind and made me become a more broad thinking and accepting person. And that's something that I wouldn't change for the world. That's fantastic. So that's been a definite opportunity from being genderqueer. I don't think I would have had that experience if I hadn't have identified as genderqueer. I don't know what I would have been. I probably would have just been content to exist in this male space, but or female space, depending on what the case was. But yeah, definitely interesting to think about. And cool. Like Jack said, we've got a Tumblr, so check that out when it goes live. We also have a Twitter if you want to follow us on Twitter, GenderqueerChat. We're also on Facebook, and we've been there for a while, so come and befriend us on that. Follow us, like it, whatever the terminology is. And yeah, we're having a bit of a rejig in the channel and looking at things and seeing how things can be more interesting and more interactive. So if you have any suggestions or ideas or you'd like to contribute, just let us know in one of those different kind of forums, and we'll certainly love to take your opinions on board. Cool. So I'll see you next week. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.